What is going on, everybody? This is Sergey from MMA Soap Opera, cause that's what it is, and today we're gonna be talking about this past weekend's UFC 309. There's a lot to talk about there. However, before we do any of that, guys, make sure to hit subscribe and ring the bell so that you don't miss any upcoming videos. That will help the channel immensely, so make sure to hit subscribe and support us. Alright, and with housekeeping out of the way, let's jump straight into the video. So, the main fight of the UFC 309 was, of course, Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic. So in my pre-fight breakdowns, I actually chose Jon Jones to win by third round TKO. So I got that one right. Like, weirdly enough, I got a whole bunch of hate in those videos for saying that I don't see a 43-year-old Stipe Miocic that was out of the octagon for almost 4 years to look very good in this fight. And like, no disrespect for Stipe Miocic, but he kinda proved me right by his performance. Like, the very few punches that he landed on Jon Jones had almost no pop, like there was nothing behind them, and they absolutely didn't do anything to Jon Jones. The footwork was basically gone as well. Oh shit, my light. Is this better? Alright, sorry about that. Anyways, like I said, I thought that his footwork was basically gone. He used to move way better before. And just like the approach to the fight itself, it really seemed like he was going after Jon Jones with some basic boxing, which I don't think is a good approach against a fighter that is as dynamic as Jon Jones. With all that being said, I have a massive respect for Stipe Miocic. I'm actually really sad that the fight went this way because I would much rather see him going out on a bang. Like, I remember, for example, the last fight of Robbie Lawler. He did exactly that. Stipe was, of course, in his time an incredible fighter, and I really hope that UFC is gonna give him his flowers, that they're gonna put some effort into celebrating him and to showing him respect, because this man absolutely deserves it. Everyone, of course, knows about his full-time job as a firefighter on the side of being a UFC fighter, which is absolutely nuts. Like, I'm not gonna go into that. That was said a million times before. Understandably enough, the man is an absolute legend. But for me personally, it was always like the decency and like the no-frills approach that Stipe Miocic had that I always had a lot of respect for. So yeah, massive respect and big congratulations to Stipe Miocic for an incredible career. When it comes to Jon Jones, I actually thought that he looked really good in this fight. There are some people that are criticizing him for not finishing Stipe earlier, but honestly, I don't think that that matters that much. Jon Jones was obviously a dominating fighter in this fight who showed way more than his opponent, and the spinning back kick that he landed on Stipe to his ribs, like, that is gonna be pretty high on highlight reel of Jon Jones. So in the ring right after the fight, when he was talking with Joe Rogan, he said that he's gonna have to talk to UFC and maybe he will give to the fans what they want. Big props to Joe Rogan for actually asking him what he means by that. Like, is it Tom Aspinall? Is it Alex Pereira? Well, Jon Jones didn't explain what he actually meant by that until the post-fight conference, where he absolutely continued with his shenanigans and just kept dismissing Tom Aspinall and said that he's not gonna fight him, that he's interested in fighting Alex Pereira. I actually think that back when he was in the octagon talking to Joe Rogan, he said what he said just purely so that he doesn't get booed. And oh boy, you know that the boos would come if he would said that in the octagon. Like, that would be a horrible look for Jon Jones. To be honest, I kinda wish that at this point Poatan would step in and say something. Like, imagine him putting on a camera and saying something like, I don't respect the champions that refuse to fight the rightful contenders, and I'm not gonna fight Jon Jones. But Tom Aspinall, if you want a new challenge, let's make it happen. Come on. Anyways, I hope that they're gonna figure it out and that Jon Jones is just playing us. And if he is playing us, well done, sir. You're doing a really good job at that. Alright, let's talk about Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler. This was basically a domination by Charles Oliveira, and I totally got this one wrong. In my previous video, I actually said that I'd be shocked if this fight went the distance, and guess what? I was in absolute utter shock that it actually did, especially after the 5th round, man, because Michael Chandler was this close to winning by an illegal TKO. What a dirty fighter, and the ref must have been tripping, I'm telling you. But I gotta say, I really like what I saw from Charles Oliveira. He looked bigger and way stronger than before. He must have been working on some wrestling because, of course, Michael Chandler is a really good wrestler, but not just because of Michael Chandler. Obviously, he knew that if he would win this particular fight, the next fight would be against yet another extremely strong wrestler. Of course, I'm talking about Arman Tsarukyan or Islam Makhachev. So in that sense, Michael Chandler was like a really good warm-up for him. Michael Chandler, he seemed to have quite a bit of issues to get inside on Charles Oliveira, and weirdly enough, it was only when he abandoned like the strategy and the more calm approach, that's when he started to get some success in the fight. When he just started fighting in the regular Michael Chandler way of just throwing caution to the wind and just going after Olives like a tornado. I think that Chandler sort of showed that he can't really compete in the top 5 anymore. Like, he would always be an exciting matchup in the top 5, but I just don't think that the man deserves there anymore. unfortunately. Like, if you look at his 2 wins in UFC, well, let's just say that the win against Tony Ferguson aged horribly for him, and the win against Dan Hooker, well, that one is kind of questionable. Dan Hooker has been looking pretty great in the past couple of fights, so we'll see how that goes for him. But if Michael Chandler would have a rematch against Dan Hooker right now, I think that that fight would go very differently. When it comes to Charles Oliveira, I think that he has way better chance against Arman Tsarukyan, but if Islam Makhachev wins, I think that unfortunately, I will see Charles Oliveira to be this forever top 3, top 5 fighter in lightweight division. But I definitely wouldn't be against him going up in a weight class, considering how usual it is for him to have hard weight cuts in lightweight division. So yeah, Charles Oliveira, Michael Chandler, what a great fight. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. Congratulations to Olives for winning by unanimous decision. Moving on. Bo Nickal versus Paul Craig. So my pick was actually Bo Nickal winning by TKO. He actually won by a decision, so I only got a half of the prediction right. And I think that the decision win kind of reflects the initial hope that we had for Bo Nickal and what the reality actually is for him, at least at the very moment. He is definitely not this prodigy fighter that could just go and straight up challenge Khamzat Chimaev right away. But I have to say, I actually wasn't disappointed by his performance at all. I actually think that he did exactly what he had to do to win this fight, aka not go down and being in danger of being submitted, because obviously Paul Craig is way better at jiu-jitsu than he is. I think I was expecting Bo to be a little bit more dominant in the striking, but Paul Craig's experience showed up, as well as Bo's still kind of a novice status in the striking. Anyways, he's still got a win over Paul Craig, and even though that there is obviously a lot of work to do for him, I actually still believe that he can become a really good contender in the division. Once again, nowhere near Khamzat Chimaev level, but I definitely see Bo Nickal to be like maybe, I don't know, a top 5 fighter in the future. Alright, and what about the rest of the UFC 309 card? Overall, I thought that it was pretty damn good. Mauricio Rufil looked slick as hell. Even though he didn't get the finish against his opponent, he had him on skate several times. And let's not forget that his opponent missed the weight significantly. Corinne Silva, she looked absolutely terrible against Araujo. Hype Train absolutely derailed. And Jim Miller, damn, Jim Miller. He made me so happy with his submission win, man. The dude is an absolute beast in his age. And yeah, I would give the UFC 309 maybe like a solid 7 out of 10, something like that. So yeah guys, what did you think about the UFC 309? But also, do you have any thoughts on the love triangle that seems to be between Tom Aspinall, Jon Jones and Alex Pereira? Tell me about it in the comment section down below as well, and once you're gonna be there, don't forget to hit like if you like the video, but also subscribe and ring the bell so that you don't miss any coming videos. This is the easiest way to support the channel. Thank you very much for watching, I hope you have a really great day. This was Sergey from MMA Soap Opera, cause that's what it is.